Jalen.
Oh, no. Hey, Cole, how you doing? How retirement treating you?
It's great, man. It's great. Just, a little writing, a little investing.
Nice. So I don't know if you saw the thing on Twitter about your statue.
I don't pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah, I figured that. Me either.
A drink, Mr. Bryant?
Yeah, I'll have a vodka martini.
How many olives would you like?
81.
Really?
Nah, man, I'm just playing. Just 2. Joke for him. He gets it.
What's going on, everybody? I want to welcome you back to Knicks Daily. I am your host here, and you already know we are first to many and second to no one when it comes to the news, team views, and the who's who connected to our New York Knicks, baby.
Knicks Daily Edition.
Knicks Daily Edition is right. Today I want to talk about a couple of things. First and foremost, we got to talk about the captain. We need to talk about our guy, Jalen mother flipping Brunson, the Brundertaker, baby. The Brundertaker. Listen, man, the New York Knicks are continuing to make noise around the mother flipping league. And specifically because of our superstar, Jalen Brunson. I want to give a shout out to Jalen Brunson. First and foremost, shout out to the Brundertaker for being one of the first Knicks to make second team. That's non-Julius Randle. So shout out to you, second team selection, Jalen Brunson. Once again, continuing to rack up accolades for the New York Knicks. But that's the least of the accolades that he's getting recently. Because Jalen Brunson has done something that has raised a lot of eyebrows around the league. The New York Knicks have just extended Jalen Brunson to a contract that is about, what is it, 100? He's taking a shorter extension, okay? So Jalen Brunson now has left $113 million on the table. The man could have turned down the extension this summer, waited until next summer to get the bag, okay? Now, why is this stand out? Why is this exceptional to so many people around the league, okay? This is exceptional around the league for the simple fact that it's another example of the star player on the New York Knicks trying to do what he can to make sure that there is some flexibility for the team to be able to make moves and ensure that they can compete for championships for years to come. Okay? Now, let me back up because I know a lot of people think that is the narrative. All right? They're trying to paint the wings on Jalen Brunson is what they're saying. They're getting the mold together to put a statue outside Jalen Brunson. That's what they're trying to accuse a lot of Knicks fans of doing, all right? Trying to say, well, their argument is he's being secure. He's taking a security route. Everybody knows Jalen Brunson's game is herky-jerky. It's physical for a player of his stature. And when you're a player of his stature, his size in terms of height, his style of game, the fact that he has a scorer's mentality, then he's going to get a lot of comparisons to former players in the league who has similar games, okay? And the name that continuously pops up is Isaiah Thomas from the Boston Celtics. You know, Isaiah Thomas was a prolific scorer. He had a little stretch of a run in Boston where he was getting buckets. And then he also came to a point in time where he had an opportunity to take a shorter extension. But what he did was he bet on himself. And he said, you know what, I'm going to hold off on signing this short-term security for long-term security. If I bet on myself for another year and next summer I get the bag. He even said back up the Brinks truck. That's what he said. But ultimately what happened in that season in between was that he caught an injury, a hip injury that he never recovered from. And what we know about our point guard is cerebral. Our point guard is a student of the game. So he's going to look and evaluate all of his different options. He's going to consider the pros and the cons of accepting the extension that's before him right now, or waiting a summer for him and waiting a year for him the following summer to get even more of a bag. All right. So you know that he went through all of those highs and lows and doing his necessary research to ensure that he was making the best decision for him and his family. But what I love about Jalen Brunson is one thing that you can't deny him of, one thing you can't accuse him of, is the fact that he is winning motivated versus money motivated. Okay? So anybody can cook up any type of reason as to why he took the extension that was before him. Okay? But one thing he's always said from day one is that he's winning motivated. He wants to be in a situation where he's comfortable with his family and they have an opportunity to win. Of course, he wants to be able to secure his bag. But he talks about wanting to win a championship in this league. And this action, this decision that he decided to take is an example of that. So ultimately what he did in making this decision to sign this extension right now is he looked at it and he was just like, listen, man, who got it better than us? Nobody. Shout out to the San Francisco 49ers, Jim Harbaugh, back in the day. Who got it better than us? Nobody. The man is playing with his boys, pause. The man got DiVincenzo on the team. He got Josh Hart on his team. He got Mikal Bridges on his team. Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart. He got Josh Hart on the team. The man has not only his friends, but his friends are winners. His friends know how to win. His friends know how to play their role. And in addition to that, the man got a multi-time All-Star in Julius Randle, who has a couple of seasons under his belt now with the Brundertaker. And they have a chemistry. That decision obviously was discussed ahead of time because OG was brought back. And he is served to be a formidable addition to championship contention upon his arrival, and the New York Knicks did what they had to do to sign him back. And then now, because of the extension that he signed, when the conversation comes back up with Mitch, or even the flexibility that's allowed so that if anything happens down the road, the New York Knicks is still in position to be able to pounce on a move if it becomes available. These are the residual effects. These are the ripple effects of the decision that the most talented player on a team has made. You know how much of an ego death you have to go through. You know how much of an ego suppression you have to do when you're not the highest paid player on your team, but you were the reason that the team is resurrected to championship contention. You know it's about winning with him. IQ got a bigger bag than him. Shout out to IQ getting his bag. IQ got a bigger bag than him. He could have clearly cleared that number. But you can't discount the fact that the man assessed the situation. He even mentioned in passing, you know what, he thought about the Tom Brady's and he thought about the Tim Duncans. In recent times, who tried to throw their name in there is the LeBron James. I'm going to take $2 million less so we can see what we can do to get somebody else on the team. The man didn't take single digits less. He didn't take single digit millions less. He didn't take double digit millions less. The man took 113 million less of an opportunity to get that money now. And that money next summer. You can't overlook, you can't poo-poo, you can't wash over that. Now, the hope is that it pays off. The hope is that it pays off. But what it does is, it definitely continues to reverberate across the league. It definitely continues to get all the eyes from all the fake superstars, the superstars who are coming down on the downside of their careers, but also the stars that are going to be up and coming. This type of move gets the attention of the Anthony Edwards. This type of move gets the attention of Giannis, who is right. He's starting to curve off that top and come towards the downside of his career. But any of the younger budding stars who are now getting reintroduced and re-enamored with the spotlight of New York because of moves like this, now they're starting to look and see, you know what? I see what he's doing over there. That's a reflection of his leadership. So you're going to have a lot of fans of this type of move. You're going to have a lot more eyes that are on Jalen Brunson, not only for his game, but for his decisions. Not only for his decisions, but for the moves made by the front office. That's what you're going to have. But just like anything else, anytime you have a lot of admirers, you're going to have a lot of haters. With anything else, that's what you're going to have. We call them the ops here at Knicks Deli.
Knicks Deli Edition.
Oh yeah, we call them the ops. And sometimes we circle the block.
We circling the block. We spinning the block.
Sometimes we don't do that anymore. We pray for them now. That's what we do. We pray for them now. Okay? But when we talk about the ops, man, obviously they got the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement. And you know, the NBA players, you know, you got to go to the negotiating table with the league to ensure that players are taken care of for years to come. And no matter what it is, what side you're on the player side because you want to advocate for everything that's beneficial to the players. But a move like this, on paper, appears to side with ownership. It appears to side with the team's best interest as opposed to the players' best interest. So you will have those players who will look at the New York Knicks led by Jalen Brunson and say that's the type of leader who will sacrifice so that his team's goal gets a little bit closer to reaching it. So his team's intention has a step closer to reaching its ultimate goal. But then you have those other players, and usually it's the older heads, the ones who are in direct competition with Jalen Brunson, who will say, you know what, I don't like him and what he did. Why did he succumb to that? He should have got his bag. What you think we fighting for? We fighting for him to get his bag. No, he's fighting to win. And many of the players that are saying that, who will look at him with the side eye, are ones that have already won. They don't want somebody on a come up like that getting prepared to win. So they'll smile in your face and extend their hand. But on the flip side, they'll look at him and be like, nah, that's, he's on the side of ownership. He's on he's an industry plant. That's what they'll look at him. He's a company man. That's what they'll call him. So there's a lot of people showing him love on Twitter. There's a lot of people, a lot of positive buzz about the New York Knicks. And we're going to get into that as well. A lot of positive buzz. But be clear, those same people that'll shake your hand and give you that are the same people who will lift the sword and stick it in your back. But shout out to our guy, the Brunson. Shout out to our guy, the captain. Shout out to our guy, Jalen Brunson, for doing what he needed to do, not only for his family, but for his team, to ensure he is a step closer to securing a championship in this league in the next few years. Next person I want to give a shout out related to this is the cap guard. The New York Knicks have decided, when they put their front office together, a critical piece was ensuring that they get someone who knew how to manage the cap, who knew how to finagle, salaries and maneuver it so that you can get the best type of maneuverability, stay flexible, and keep your mind on the task of the present and putting together a winner on the team right now and the future. And that's what we've been able to do. Leon Rose has been able to put together a team that is cap conscious, that are experts in the finances, any of the nuances of the new changes of the league, to be ahead of the curve, to be able to make moves so that you make sure you're in compliance now and you're in the best position to be successful in the future. The New York Knicks have done that. And that's something that never is talked about on the surface, is never talked about out loud. It always happens in the background. And I'm telling you, man, when everybody was shocked by LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade getting together, all three of those players being superstars in their own way on their own teams, and coming together on one team. How were you able to do that? Everybody started talking about Pat Riley and his ability to do that when LeBron decided he wanted to return back to Cleveland with Kyrie, and then they had Kevin Love coming in. Everybody was like, how are they going to do that? There's no way that they can do that. Well, they had the cap guard over there at that time. That's what brought our eye and our attention to him to get him on our team. But you have to have somebody who is surgical in managing and balancing the books and understanding the rules of the NBA so that you're in compliance and being able to say what's possible. Worst case scenario, least case scenario, what is possible to be done. And in order to do that, that has to be part of the fabric of your front office. New York Knicks fans, you got to be proud of the fact that we have this in New York. You got to be proud of that fact that we have this in New York. All the signings that we made, the free agents that we've been able to pick up or re-sign, all because financially we are in tune and we're on top of our game. But since we're talking about the front office, you can't talk about anybody else but Leon Rose. Leon Rose truly has to be commended because you know that conversation doesn't happen in a vacuum with Jalen Brunson and the decision to leave $113 million on the table in order to sign an extension, now. There has to be an overall conversation to be had. There has to be trust that's there. And a lot of people don't remember the fact that Leon Rose also represented Allen Iverson at one time. Leon Rose represented Allen Iverson one time. Leon Rose is an attorney by trade. So when you talk about somebody who professionally is required to pay attention to detail, is required to know the legalese of contracts and how things operate. That's the mind that's already there from Leon Rose. And it's what's necessary in order to be able to translate the pros and the cons to the player when you are in these type of negotiations. And I'm sure that conversation was something like this. Jalen, we're going to get you your bag, but let us tell you what our vision is. And we've been keeping communication with you. We're open all along. So this is part of the plan. You can get your money now, and this is the team we're going to rock with. And we'll rock with this team for about 2 or 3 years. But if we run into the same slew of injuries that we did last year, we might be hamstrung. No pun intended. And depending on different injuries, sometimes you can recover quicker, sometimes it may be something that's looming, and we may trip up our opportunity to be able to compete and keep our championship window open long enough for us to secure that trophy. But if you sign the extension now, it keeps us with flexibility. If you sign the contract now, you will get paid. But maybe not 2 years from now, maybe not next summer, but maybe 2 years from now, we'll make it to you up on that end and get you like $300 million or close to it. But trust the process. Trust the fact that you've already seen us put players around you. We've already built around you. Look around you in the locker room. Who's the star that we're building around in New York? Who is the king of New York? And you ask yourself, do you recognize the fact that we believe that based on who you see in that locker room right now? All we're asking for is a little bit of trust. Take this extension now. Believe in us that we're going to give you your money about 2 years down the line. But also believe in us that we're going to work our damnness if we have the flexibility to be able to put a team around you that'll help you get this trophy and bring it back to the Garden, to bring it back to Gotham City. Trust us. That's the type of conversation Leon Rose has to have and has to communicate to a player such as Jalen Brunson, a player coming from a team that didn't believe in him, a player coming from a team that pushed him off a few times, said, we just want to see how it turns out. Now he's in a position where he can control his destiny. He can control, his value and his worth. And having gone through that in Dallas, how much trust and belief do you have to have in your front office to take that extension now? Knowing what you've been through with other organizations. And it's a badge of honor on the shirt of that front office for him to do this. So kudos to Leon Rose, because you have to have an ability to communicate your vision in order for him to buy in and accept that extension this summer to sign it. And if we want to talk about examples of him doing it in the past, when he represented Allen Iverson, I'm talking about Leon Rose. Allen Iverson ensured that there was a clause. Leon Rose ensured that there was a clause in Allen Iverson's contract. And Allen Iverson's then wife, or I believe girlfriend or fiance at that time, she agreed to that Allen Iverson couldn't access about $40 million until he was about 40. They were just trying to make sure they had the background covered, because Allen Iverson was spending a little bit crazy. Him and money, he was just spending. And man, it helped him out, because Allen Iverson was coming down to the tail end of all of his funds. It was looking bad for him. And then once he hit 40, renewed life. All because of that clause. All because Leon Rose was representing him at that time. It's tough to trust somebody if they don't have a track record that you can trust them. Much easier if you say, don't tell me, show me. And somebody can pull out their receipts and show you. This is the time when I showed up for you. This is the time when I showed up for you. This is the time where I showed up for him when I could have went the other way. My track record speaks for itself. That's what Leon Rose can do. That's what the New York Knicks are establishing that they're doing right now. Free agents are seeing this. Front offices are seeing this. So shout out to Leon Rose for being able to work this out with his star point guard, get the flexibility, lock up a young core. Lock up a young core that's going to be together. Beyond physically being on the same team over the next 3 or 4 years, these are friends who've already played with each other in college for 4 years. You're going to have a team that's together where the core has been playing together for like 8 years. We talk about that being the success of a Boston, that being the success of a Denver. This is the success of the New York Knicks. And they did it a different way. They absolutely did it a different way. Bridges, Brunson, Hart, DiVincenzo. Now you add Randall and Mitch, who've been together for a number of years. Throw in OG, who blends in perfectly. Deuce. Come on, man. The New York Knicks are putting together guard dogs. We ain't got nothing but dogs from the top to the bottom of the roster. The identity is defense. Not only is it the identity, of the coach, but it's the identity of New York. Leon Rose came in and made a promise. He said, I'm going to put a team on the floor New York Knicks fans are going to be proud of. And our goal is to have long-term, sustainable winning. And he's done that. He's absolutely done that. Y'all gotta be hyped for this. Y'all gotta be hyped about this. Our reputation is different in the league right now. You hear me? Our reputation is different in the league right now. You ain't walking in New York. We ain't no easy win no more. Those easy win days is over. Every time you come in, you think you're going to win. Every time you come in and think it's going to be a cakewalk. It ain't no cakewalk here. You coming into the Garden. I don't know what you heard. I don't know what you thought. You better turn the page. Stuff is different. Stuff is definitely different. The perception of the team has been rehabbed. Definitely rehabbed. And I love it. What basically Jalen Brunson did is he definitely contributed to his legacy. And what he's shown since day one is he understands what his actions say in the eyes of the largest market in the world. He knows 24/7, all eyes are on him. From how he speaks and what he says, every space that he walks into, he's not only representing himself and his family in the highest accord, he's representing his organization, he's representing the city. He's representing the city. In one breath, the man can talk about listening to Justin Bieber before games, and the other breath, the man is at the Rucker. In another instance, he's new on the team. They get a big win in Indiana. He walks into that locker room like Stone Cold Steve Austin, hyping the team up. And he ain't got to be the one to talk about it to show he's a leader. He does it. His actions show that he's a leader. This is what New York is about. Everybody wanted to run Tibbs out of town. Oh, Tibbs this and Tibbs that, and Tibbs is going to run this. Now that you got a player who's a star, a superstar, who loves his coach, they're tied at the hip. Every superstar who wins a championship needs to have a marketable, notable coach standing by his side. Y'all don't want to see Tibbs get a chip? Tibbs get one chip in New York, he a legend. You put his jersey right up there with Red Holtzman's. Give Tibbs one chip, he's up there with a statue as well. Y'all quick to betray players. Y'all got Julius out there in the cold. Julius done gave y'all blood, sweat, and tears. He been to the highs and helping the team get back to the playoffs, and the lowest of the lows with the New York Knicks fans by thumbing down because of his frustration about how y'all talking about him. And then he still came back and helped get y'all this far. And y'all ready to put 2 pennies on his neck and throw him out of the door in the trade. Y'all done lost y'all damn mind. Y'all tripping. And 2 other things I just want to point out. What the New York Knicks have done, they've designed a team. I said a few years back with some of the moves that they made, they were looking at Denver after Denver won the championship. We were positioned perfectly, having a star big man and a star point guard, Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. We right there. We weren't far off. But what the New York Knicks now have is a team with versatility, a team with defensive, above average, high elite defensive ability, versatility, interpositionality. This is what they have in New York. Discipline and 2 dynamic defensive wings that are sitting there toe to toe, ready to go round for round with the world champions. How many other teams in the league got that? This is what you're looking at with your New York Knicks. This is what they have. This is what you're looking at. Knicks fans, the time to talk your talk is right now. And get on board. Don't be sitting there vacillating. I don't know about Julius. You don't know about Julius. You want Cat? You want Cat? Come on, B. And I'm going to end with this. Shout out to James Dolan. That's right, I said it here at Knicks Deli.
Knicks Deli Edition.
Shout out to James Dolan. Because all the man has done since Leon Rose has been here is play the cut. All we've been asking him to do for forever. But it shows you every time he tried to step in, the confidence that front office and that coaching staff and those players that would get it done, confidence wasn't there. He was doing everything he could to bring in players. And he was trying to listen to the people who he had hired, but he was hiring the wrong people. He was listening to them. He tried to jump in whenever he could to try to get the star that'll come to the team. But the moment he stepped aside and hired somebody that had a basketball mind, he went against the grain hiring Leon Rose. They criticized him for it because he was another player agent trying to come into the front office role in the largest market. Everybody criticized him for it. Knicks fans criticized him for it. So give that man kudos now that he's made the right decision and he stepped back and played the cut still to this moment. So keep this in mind. Same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there ain't no struggle, there's no progress. But remember this. Whether it's in the real world or out here in these YouTube streets, here in Knicks Daily, baby, everybody
Knicks Daily
eats.
Edition.
I'm Shia. I'm out. Peace.